Adam, our friends over at Sellhound have outdone themselves. They're giving the Deathpiles and Taxes listeners an opportunity of a lifetime.
They're going to help us make some money, get rid of that death pile, get your items listed because you can't sell out of an empty wagon.
Man, sell all that you got, kill that death pile. When you go over to Sellhound, use promo code, capital letters, Deathpiles25 to save 25% off of their service.
And get out there and start making some money.
Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Oh my!
Wow, that was a good way to start. It is the greatest time of the week. It is Death, Piles, and Taxes podcast time. Leroy.
Episode number 116.
You got it.
If you know what I mean, Jelly Bean, Lightning McQueen, sure thing. Here we go.
Whoa, anybody want a peanut?
Yes, sir. Andre does. Get him one. And the man wants more than one peanut. I'll guarantee that.
Several peanuts.
Well, it's an exciting. Oh, hold on.
Oh, wow, that's a big strawberry drink right there.
This is this is going to keep us entertained throughout the whole episode.
That is called diabetes times 2.
Now it's light.
Of course it's light.
It's basically healthy to drink it. If you don't drink it, you get diabetes on these kind of things.
That's
They're
true.
good for you.
That's true. Coming in, this is your podcast about making money, and lots of it.
Well, I'm excited. Making money online, the old-fashioned way, is we're going to start calling it.
Yeah, that's right.
Used to be the new way, but Adam, we were talking. You got some things to talk about.
Oh man,
This is all the phone calls and stuff during the week has to stay for the podcast. So
I tell you what, I don't know if you know this yet, but it's pretty crazy. Like when you list stuff, people buy it.
So I get this text message. I'm in a text group with Adam's in there with a bunch of our friends, and he sends over that on a text form. He says, "Boy, man, if you list things sell." And I said, "We've been doing a podcast for 2 years where I've said, if you list things sell." And he's like, "Yeah, but now it's actually, I'm doing it. It's actually happening."
Well, the problem is I kind of narrowed down my niche. Sold a lot of clothing, VCRs, and it's all kind of spurled in, and you make a little bit, but I've really got this card thing that's really fun, it's entertaining, but I have to sell them as graded cards, and it takes time. I only have about 50 of those that I've got, but I took your advice, and I cracked open some old cases from a cheaper company that had graded them, and I just sold them raw. So it's like the first time I sold some raw cards. I didn't even I had another couple sales since I talked to you.
Adam the Raw Dog, what did you sell, buddy?
$385 of cards over the week, over Sunday.
Over Sunday, so $385. How many total cards?
3 cards.
3 cards, $385.
$5.
Wow, ain't not bad.
And I am into those cards. I paid $20 from the meth head back episodes and episodes ago. And the other one I pulled out of a pack from Phil's.
Not bad.
So I'm excited. It's really I got a lot of things listed. Well, a lot is a relative term. Like, compared to what you list, I got a few more.
You got a lot for you listed, which it's not competition, and you're getting going. Things are flowing. And so all this was eBay sales?
All this is eBay sales. I will want to tell you, if you haven't noticed, like in the studio, notice that back, look at how clean it is.
Yeah, there's a lot less cards back there, huh?
I cleaned up the entire place. I've got my stuff organized. I've got my orders to go out to PSA. Like, we are doing this the right way, buddy.
You're better than me. I was getting my orders to go out to PSA this weekend, and I'm coming up on my expiration date of our Platinum membership is in March, I believe. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get another membership or not.
It's questionable.
They've sold out, for those of you that don't know. I'm sure if you've listened to this show more than once, you've heard the same story 20 times, so I'll save you a little bit there. But so I put my stuff together, the older cards, the newer cards, my tickets, got everything put together, felt good, going to get it listed. Next day I'm sorting through a few things, and I found my hidden stash of treasures.
Oh boy.
So there's like, oh, I need to send those in. Oh, there's those.
Your own death pile of death piles.
There's my Kiss autographs that I've been looking for. That's where they end up. I didn't get those in, and then I've been buying a lot more too. So I guess it's one of those things that it just keeps going. Hopefully.
So hold on, you said Kiss tickets?
No, Kiss. I talked about the Kiss memorabilia I bought at one point.
That's
I
right.
got two pictures. They're like 8x10s or whatever from when they were in the Vegas residency.
Okay.
That this rich couple up in Park City had that they sold me for nothing. And it's autographed by the whole band, which isn't the original band, but still has Paul Stanley and it has Gene Simmons.
Oh, boy.
Which are the two you want?
That's the two.
And so I'm going to send those into Beckett and get them slabbed
I've got some.
and authenticated. Yeah, so.
I've got your Clark Howard sign. I left that up so we knew what it was.
Howard. Yeah, I'm going to send these in, and I'm going to have them get authenticated by Beckett because I'm going to put them in the slot. I just like that one better for the autographs.
Sure.
I have my rathers. I was telling you, I'll talk a little bit on it here. I was doing my deep dive. If you're not using Terapeak, regardless of what you're selling, and you have it, if not, it's worth probably updating your store for. I was texting back and forth with our buddy Mike Painter the other day, and I was just on Terapeak, just screwing around, just looking at things. The amount of information that is on there, like, it's crazy.
There's a lot of information.
If you want to know, so I went down to, because everyone always says Beckett or PSA, which is the better brand to go
better
with.
place to
Especially,
verify
well,
yourself.
I guess everyone in the card game, which we're at.
Which coming up, we're going to have a special card guest, Mr.
Which-
Adam T.
Which is coming up later in the show. We're
Yeah.
excited for. But everyone talks about which one to go with, which one to go with. I went over to Terapeak, and you can sort through all the data in the last 365 days, football and baseball and basketball. The winner is PSA,
Oh, which we knew that.
and it shows you percentages and breakdowns. Not too far in the back is Beckett, and then the CGA is way in the back. So anyone that's trying to tell me anything about that, I can back it up with facts instead of my opinion.
You're not buying it.
If you're looking for what's been selling, what's been trending, and this isn't just sports cards. Obviously, me and Adam talk a lot about sports cards, which some people are saying is going up, some people say it's coming down, which is good. Controversy creates cash.
Oh, yes.
So
Ooh, which speaking of, I got those O.J. Simpson cards.
you better get him in there. You better get the juice. You better get him locked up before he goes out and does something.
Before he gets locked up again?
Who knows? Anyway, you can get some data if you have the Terapeak option. It's on your seller hub,
Yeah, the sell hub.
and you can just kind of go through there on the research tab. Also, apparently, eBay is reformatting their listing process. So you may or may not, if you try to list, have a different looking page. They're trying to simplify everything on your handheld device, so it'll be like the same as on your computer. Just be aware. I
See
mean,
what happens.
people are selling, and we need to bring them the news, Adam. We don't always bring them the news.
Yes.
That's an eBay news item.
Oh, the update there. So I will just recap that. I had 3 cards that I think I'm into it, maybe $60. And after my fees, and I had them pay for shipping, so get rid of that cost. I made about probably $310 over the weekend.
Well, they haven't got them yet.
Yes.
You haven't got your good review.
Well, it's in my
You
PayPal account.
wait till they bend them all up.
Yes.
The mail's not delivered them.
So what I'm saying is I knew nothing about this. I didn't know what PSA was. I didn't know what cards were doing. I've got a lot more in my pipeline. Anyone, if it's an interest of yours, take some time, like I said, whether it's concert tickets, which we still believe we're well ahead of the curve on that one.
I'm going to stop sharing all the things that we've been sharing because I think we're creating our own competition.
The problem is what's happening.
I'm just going to talk about items I picked up and what I've been selling price-wise, but I'm going to stop saying what they are.
Your buddy Gary V, he's in the Vine, man. He's watching what we're doing. And you talked about Marvel and Superman. And did you see what came out yesterday?
He ticks me off. Adam sends him a little tweet, and Gary V's looking for a Macho Man rookie card. And he's like, Derek and Painter, show him your stuff. He can come find my stuff. He's the one looking. The problem is he's got so many followers and people that are, just in the spectrum of Gary V, that he can just put, hey, I'm looking for a can of Mountain Dew, and he'll have 50 people, like, I'm going to drop it off at your office, Gary. Here you go, Gary. How would that be? So he's looking for this card, which is fine. Like, I get it. But he's got like a list of people like, buy my card. Here's this card. I'll give you a discount. Some of us are out hustling.
That's
So I said, Gary knows where to find me, which is true.
It's true. He does know to find you. You are tweeting.
Did he come out with superheroes then?
Oh yeah. I thought I sent it to.
He's killing me.
To first favorite, your second favorite, Brian. This morning, he's going after. I think it was Batman. And
Oh, I'm ahead of him.
I know that you are.
I'm ahead of him.
That's the best part about this podcast. I know we do it for a lot of reasons. A lot of people, when we're older and we can be like, hey, remember, like we were ahead of the curve on a lot of
Listen to episode 116. You'll see I had it.
Yeah, everybody told us that Michael Jordan cards were junk.
I still got it.
Yeah, I sold 3 Michael Jordan cards for $200.
I'm not even going to say. I've been buying some cards in that realm. I'll tell you off the air because I really do think like we create a little bit of a buzz and that dries up. I know with some of the wrestling cards and stuff we've talked about, it's a lot harder to find them. So I think going forward in the future, maybe we'll talk generic cards or what we're kind of doing. But I mean, we're teaching you to fish or we're telling you this is what I'm fishing for. I don't know.
A little bit of both, but we're happy because it creates, like I said, controversy. It creates cash, and I'm just having fun, man.
Well,
It's fun stuff.
That's the thing with the junk card era, as they call it or whatever, and a lot of it is, but like you're saying, Michael Jordan cards are worthless. Then you have somebody saying, I'll give you $100 for that.
Yes.
We have the NFL playoffs going on right now, and last night I stayed up a little later than I wanted to because in the Christmas Miracle stash, I was going through some cards. I'm like, oh, there's a Patrick Mahomes second-year card. Oh, there's a Josh Allen rookie rush. Yeah, I need to get this one. So, listed some other things. I have some controversy over my Juan Soto refractor still going. I've had some people reaching out to me. I put it up there, listed just as PSA said. Apparently, it's not a refractor, is the controversy. I've had people sending me messages, some polite, some not as polite, and sometimes kids in the room. I'm going to be a little more conservative than I'd usually be, even though I know his kid listens to me when I do go off on things, just on the podcast. But I had a guy that sent me something today that said, you're going to have an angry customer when this is all said and done. I said, well, how come? That's not what it is. And I said, this is the card as pictured, this is the title, whatever. And I looked at this guy's page. He's drawing on scratch paper cards. So he's got one, and he's not a good artist. It'd be like me. I'm like, so I said, well, how's that going for you? How's the drawing cards going for you? Then if people are going to be upset at me, how's the Juan Soto 1-of-1 hand-drawn on a sheet of scratch paper going for you? Haven't heard back. Big shocker.
Yeah. Does he have an eBay store?
Yeah, I'll show you during the break. And then also this other guy was telling me that if I go through with this, not only is it, I mean, they're talking about me all on these forums. So I said, what forums? And he told me some names. I went over there, there's nothing. And he said, not only if you go through with this, you're committing fraud, and you're mailing this across state lines knowing that you're doing a fraudulent transaction.
Goodness,
And so I'm just like, listen, buddy, you got a lot of free time on your hands. I appreciate that you're looking out for me. People that bid, I've kind of been in contact with. They know what they're getting. We've had this go through before. If they don't, they can return it. Not a big deal. Thanks, though.
Thank you, sir.
Whoa, some people are going to be running up that. If they want to run it up at the last minute and not pay, I'll open up an unpaid item. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm far from a guy that you're going to scare over a text message.
Yes.
And then I went to look at some of his stuff, and he had a card I wanted to buy, an Arn Anderson card, but he blocked me. So I sent him a message that said, if you ever want to sell that card, unblock me when you're not scared of,
Do you want to share his thing?
Scared.
I can buy it for you.
Well, no, because there's people listening. I don't want to give them money.
Okay. We'll talk about
We
that.
got 5 people. My mom listens now. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, Barb, listen.
It was her New Year's resolution.
Oh, wow.
She liked Kid Everest last week. She sends me little notes now.
Really?
So we went 116 episodes joking about it, but now my mom listens. So I gotta be on my P's and Q's because you got kids in the room and my mother listens.
I will go back to that. It was actually really fun to listen to the episode and hear about how those I mean, they're kids. Like, they're kids and their ability to start a business, which I don't think my son's listened to that episode yet, but you need to. It was just kind of fun. It was really interesting to see how people think differently at a young age.
No, they were sharp, and like I said, I'd like to lie and say that would be me if the technology was available, but it wasn't because kids are out hustling.
Yeah.
I think they got a bright future ahead of them. I'm glad that we got the connection with them. And the one thing, and we talked about it on the podcast, but I'll bring it up now. is a lot of times you start meeting people in your early 20s that have kind of the same interests. You start, talking with them. That's when people form businesses.
Yeah.
You form relationships. You go to college together. If you're loyal, people make bonds at that point, and you find people that are kind of similar with you that you can go forward with life with a lot of times.
Certainly.
They're doing this at
Much younger age.
early teen age.
Yes.
So you're going to get those bonds. It's going to be stronger. You're going to build that relationship. I just think, I think that there's going to be some big stuff coming out of these people.
Yes, I agree. We started when we're 37 with the podcast. Could you imagine when we started being friends?
I mean, or even let's say if we knew each other when we were 12 or 13,
Yeah.
and we're talking sports cards. Now,
Wow.
it's just from that, what changes, what comes,
That's
what goes.
5 years of experience right there.
I'm just saying, like if you're in the business, entrepreneur minds, and you're like, oh yeah, I know Kevin. I've known him since we were 14. I helped him fund this project. When we went to college, we did this together. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you got a lot more background on people, and with the internet, it makes it a lot easier to stay connected to people. So
And I think that's what a lot of this is it is, I don't know, hopefully we give you some ideas, give you some want to. Like I said, the eBay stuff, it's probably my third thing that I do. My first is my accounting business. Like I said, I've done this for years. It's gearing up to be accounting time. Done a lot of W-2s, a lot of taxes. For those of you who don't know, the IRS just pushed back the filing date. You cannot file your tax returns until February 12th, which means realistically, returns won't go out till February 20th, and that's if you're lucky. So,
I have at work at my day job, we got the W-2s and things, and you can tell the people that are going to get money back because they're like chomping at the bit to just go get whatever refund card they can get. You can tell the people they're going to pay, or they're somewhere in between. It's just kind of interesting to see that.
not until February 12th is when the soonest we can file. And they didn't extend the tax deadline. So now I have from February 12th till April 15th. Normally I can start like January 21st. So they took off 3.5 weeks. So I appreciate that, IRS.
It's going to be a mess.
Hopefully they get that figured out. But that's my first, like I said, that's what I
It's his
do.
first love.
Yes, accounting is my first love.
It's a numbers game, from what I understand.
Oh, yes. My other one is, like I said, I really, from doing that, I spurned an online business. That's kind of always the dream. That's exactly the dream. That's what we do, eBay stuff. But I've spurned the dream of, we sell online wheelchairs, an online company that we sell wheelchairs kind of all over the country and now internationally, Canada, Australia. So that's kind of, I've learned a lot from that, and now as I kind of do this eBay, it's all that same idea. It's learning how to do something you've never done before because you can make money at it.
And that's the thing. A lot of people think that you have to be born with that engine or that desire or that mindset, and I think that helps a lot. But I do think that's something that can be developed.
No, absolutely.
I think, people sitting around or saying, well, I can't do this, I've never done that, I've always worked for somebody, I don't know anything, I don't know how to sell things. I think if you got the want, you can create that motor.
Yes, and there's always that one-off niche. I mean, you might be the guy who knows more about, trains,
Fly fishing.
fly fishing. Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Well, some of the stuff, if you know what you're doing,
Chicken coops, different kinds of chickens.
well, here's something. So, okay, we got springs coming up soon, right? We usually want to be about 90 days ahead of what's going on.
That's about where we're at.
If you remember last year, my big thing was those lids on the mason jars were hard to find for
Yes,
people
they were.
canning. Well, what happens for them to can things is they have to grow things.
Okay.
Apparently right now it's hard to come by certain seeds.
Oh,
If you're in that world of gardening, that kind of stuff, some of those supplies, tools, that kind of thing, it's a good thing right now going through this, whatever you want to call it, pandemic, recession, whatever's been going on. It's got people wanting to do more gardening, more growing their own stuff, not waiting for supply chains.
yes. Which, it was funny, my son and I, we watched on History Channel, The Food That Grew America. Kind of a history type thing, and it really talked about like how like Hershey's, Post, kind of all these first attributes to where the Industrial Revolution happened, that everybody came to the city, but food was like, nobody had preservatives, we didn't have microwaves, we didn't have, refrigerators, you had none of that stuff, and they had to figure out how to bring this into a lot of space, and I think that people are it's going back the way it used to be. Like, they want to grow their own food. They don't want to be reliant on somebody else. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a trendy thing right now for whatever reason. There's multiple reasons.
Absolutely.
But the point I'm trying to make is if you sell this kind of stuff online, maybe eBay on the smaller, easier to ship things, Amazon for things you can get in bulk, or just local Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist type things for, I mean, if you got in where you can get a lot of mulch or gardening supplies, maybe you can make those little, the gardening beds they make.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those. Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
People
So
make beds.
So right when I say I'm not going to tell people what to do because they're going to just flood the market, I go and tell people what to do. So you got to be thinking creative and different things though. Think of what's going on. Think of what people need.
When you need those items,
what they're looking for.
Well, go down to the true or best. Which one?
The True at Best.
The True at Best in Nephi, Utah.
Yeah, every year, that's where you just go.
See Everett Denny, he will be the guy that takes care of you. He knows more about raising chickens, fertilizer, any kind of thing than any human being probably should.
He does know a lot about all that stuff.
So, well, we're getting ready. We're going to have a special guest. Adam T's coming on. I found him. Like I said, we'll get into it a little bit, but I found him online, and I think he's hitting it hard, just like we are on this online selling.
We're checking out Adam's competition.
Yes, well, D-Boy's got his own competition in
I've created my own competitions
between Painter, and your buddy David Peck. You've got up there with the big boys.
We're up. That's the cool thing. I'm talking to. I might not be on Mount Rushmore, but I'm talking to the guys that are. So
I know before we talked about David's probably the Michael Jordan.
We need to bring him in.
We do.
We need to bring him on, and I think we could.
He's got this crazy amount of cards, and you brought up you're the Scottie Pippen. Like you probably are, but maybe I'd say more like the Ron Harper.
Oh well, if we're on the same team, can I go to another team? Maybe I could be a Sean Kemp or Dikembe Mutombo.
Possibly.
Okay.
I think maybe you
were calling me the Michael Jordan. I'm the one calling me Scottie Pippen. Now you're downplaying me.
Well,
now you sell a couple of cards, and all of a sudden you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be Horace Grant, and Derek's going to be Ron Harper. I'm at least John Paxson."
Bill Walton. No, Bill.
Bill Walton's a Hall of Famer.
Bill Wellington or Luke Long.
Yeah, Greg Ostertag.
Yeah. Blue Edwards.
Oh, I'll take Blue all day, every day.
So that gives you little tidbits. So we're going to jump on the interview. We'll catch you on the other side. There's a reason we call this the Deathpiles and Taxes podcast.
Well, why do we call that, Adam?
Because for the rest of your life, and even the year that you die, you have to file your taxes.
Well, I got a guy that does that for me.
That's right, because here at Adam Up Accounting, that's what we do. We take care of taxes. We're very familiar with online retailers. Even if you're listening because you enjoy the sultry sounds of Derek Everitt, we will take care of your taxes. Check us out online, adamupaccounting.com. The social medias, we will help make sure that you file your taxes timely and enjoy the process.
Hey guys, it's D-Roy Everett and Adam Beesley from the Deathpiles and Taxes podcast that you're listening to right now.
Your favorite accountant, I know. It's the greatest thing in the whole world.
A lot of you have been asking what you can do to help the podcast out, and seriously, all we want is a review.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a 5-star review, but if not, be fair, at least a 4.
We know you're listening. Like I said, we see the numbers. We're all over the world. Like I said, it's just we see it. We appreciate everyone listening. Help us get a little higher up there. Help us get more new
Helps
listeners.
with the algorithms. People can help find us out, and it really does help. So if you can go to Apple, iTunes, that's where a lot of you are already listening, or wherever you're listening.
Spotify, Apple, all of these different things. They're all out.
Wherever you listen, give us you don't even have to write a review, just give us 5 stars. If you want to give us a review, that's cool too. We appreciate it, and keep listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Hey, it's us again. We just interviewed Adam Tebbs, but we had the Skype gods kind of angry with us a little bit.
The information is so good that Big Brother was kind of, they were censoring us.
Adam put on his tinfoil hat, and I pieced it together the best we can, so enjoy the interview. If it glitches or hops around, I did the best editing I could, Adam. And we're back. Welcome on in. We got a special guest right now with us. Adam scoured all over the internet to find another Adam, which isn't a very common name. So let's bring in Adam Tebbs to the show. Adam, I don't know you that well, but from what I've heard during the break, I'm pretty impressed with the story. So how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. It's fun to be here.
So Adam was a insurance salesman that has turned sneakerhead into card man. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right, and a lot in between, to be honest, too. And I can say,
let's run the gambit. You said you like to talk. We're talkers, so let's start with the insurance game and what happened with that, and how you ended up in the reselling world. So let's shoot from the hip there.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Las Vegas, born and raised. I actually got a golf scholarship to BYU, and that's what brought me up to Utah. And so I played. I did 5 years, went on a mission. So I did the whole 7 years. I was engaged my senior year to a girl, and so I decided to find a job in Utah. And my dad's cousins owned an insurance agency up in Salt Lake, and decided to give them a call. And they said, "Yeah, come try it out." And I was like, "Well, sure." At that point, I didn't really want to do golf anymore. I was so burned out. It became a full-time job, and it wasn't fun anymore. And so I was like,
golf was not fun.
Yeah, right.
Whoa, that's a lot of golf if it's not fun. I enjoy golfing, but I've never been that long or probably not that good. So that's probably why it wasn't fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, just every day of your life from, since I was 5 years old and up until college, and, it was just time to be done. But
so you did that, and then you started doing insurance. That's what you got into, right?
Insurance. Stayed in Utah for the girl. The girl ended up breaking it off with me, but my job was going good, so it was a win-win, I guess, in the end. But I just started figuring out insurance, and it was just like you're on your own, just like golf. And I figured out ways how to sell people insurance, and it's mostly talking to people, but and so I was very successful doing that for about 5 years with them. And then they actually fired me out of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah. And they brought in their brother-in-law, and who lost his job, and to take over my book. And I was overnight. I had nothing. Like, they kicked me out. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's something that people don't think about. You think that you have a steady job. I've been laid off before too, and everything's going good. You think that you got it for security, and then out of nowhere, it can all vanish pretty quickly.
I mean, and this was family too, right? And so you just never. I mean, you really just never know.
Yeah, family, that makes it a little awkward at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you could say that. No words have been spoken since. So.
I know what you mean there. So
yeah,
you're doing the insurance thing. Did you get back in there, or is that when you decided to do the resale?
Yeah. I mean, I went through a period of 2 months where I was like, well, this is what I know, so this is what I'm going to do. And I kind of had revenge in my mind, right? Like, I'm going to get them, like whatever. And so I ended up working for another agency, LA Bowen Insurance in Orem, and for 2 years. And it was really good, like amazing, like Lane Bowen, great guy, great boss. But it just got to me, like I just related insurance to what happened to me, and I could not function. It was just like a bad deal. Like, I saw counseling and like this and that, but like it just was something that like I could not get over.
So basically, it's just getting stressful with the insurance, and you're getting tired of it.
Yeah, just like couldn't function, couldn't do my job, like wasn't selling really anything. I had no desire to sell any. Like, it just wasn't a good place. And I didn't want to do that to my new boss, because he was like really, really good guy. And so I mean, in the meantime, I'm like, so like I got to backtrack. I mean, I inherit my grandpa's baseball card collection in the meantime. Like,
oh.
And so
we got grandpa's money in the basement then.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always done eBay, and that's what I was saying earlier. To this day, my eBay, we sell Vera Bradley bags, like watches, like sunglasses, like you name it, shoes, still, George still shoes and whatever. And so my grandma and grandpa were over for dinner, and I was just like all about eBay at that point and telling them like, oh, you would have no idea like what's laying around your house, da 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 da. And she's like, well, like your grandpa's baseball cards, like they're just taking up too much room. And I was like, yeah, like I'd love to look at those, So probably like 35 binder fulls, like just jam packed, like from the 1979 to 1989.
All right, so you go through Grandpa's basement, and Grandma told you that these cards are just taking up way too much space.
Yeah, and it was like a whole closet full, and I just told him, I was like, well, I'll just take all of them if that's what you want to do. And so I hauled like 35 binders like in my car, and I mean that's just how my brain works. I just like was so stoked to like figure out something new, and so yeah, I took all 35 binders, and my grandpa was like, probably won't find anything in there worth, a quarter, whatever. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't know, but it'll be fun. And so I started looking up card values, just like from, he had full sets from 1979 to 1989, all Donruss, Fleer, Topps, like every single year. And so through that, I learned, who the rookies are those years, Griffey's 89, and you have McGuire in 86 or 85, and Tony Gwynn and Sandberg, and like, so I learned all like cards through that era and values.
So you just had something. You're breaking the stereotype here, Adam. You are in the basement, but an attractive female just walked by you. Like, do you know her?
Yeah. She said she was like super stoked that I was going to be on a podcast. So she's like, I got to listen. I was like, all right.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, there we go. We're getting some street cred.
Breaking the stereotypes. He is in the basement, but he's not. I think you did say you're at your mom's, but you have your wife there with you.
Parents' basement too. Yeah.
Well, as long as you're making money, that's the stereotype we like to break.
So with Grandpa's card collection, were you selling those raw? Did you get into grading, or was that just?
Yeah, so I mean, the first card that stuck out to me when I'm looking at values was a Ricky Henderson rookie, and I'm looking at value, and I would always look at like highest sold, like highest price. I want to know like what's the potential here, like what can this do? And there was like a PSA 10 that sold for like $21,000, and I was like, there's no way it can be the same card. I'm like what, like, and I didn't even realize like it was graded or anything like that. And so learned the hard way that it you got to send them in and da. Well, I actually got an 8 on that card, I remember, and like obviously it's like $60 or something, but I was selling them raw, and I started joining Facebook groups, like baseball groups through that. Just selling.
So before that, like, so that's what we try and get into with our listeners is you had sent in a card before. You had never done that. You just figured it out on your own, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at a $20,000 card, and I'm like, I have the same card. Like, this is great, But like, I didn't realize it was like in a slab or anything. I had no idea.
Yeah. All right, we are back with Adam T.
We're gonna make this happen. Adam, now, so you found this $20,000 Ricky Henderson card. Yours, unfortunately, wasn't quite in that realm, but you're doing the research. Was this when you were in the sneakerhead stuff before this, or is this what got you into reselling?
No, so I was doing shoes at the time, and so I had actually gone from like buying brand new shoes to doing used shoes and like cleaning used shoes up and then selling them that way, because I couldn't keep up with the bots and like this and that.
Kind of talk about that and explain. Me and Adam on the show, we talked a lot about cards and reselling, but there are people that just do straight sneakers, and you were one of them for a while. How did that work? And then the bots moving in and all that. Tell that story if you don't mind.
Yeah. So when I started doing shoes, I saw the biggest dollar amount was, brand new pair of shoes, like brand new shoe with the box and everything like that. And so I discovered StockX, and I was like, well, this is so easy. Like, so I would literally go down like every model of Jordan and like put in a bid on like every shoe, and I would just wait until it would get accepted, like knowing like I'm comfortable at that price point if someone accepts it. And so, I mean, it was like I said, like 10 bids a day on like getting accepted, $200-$300 pair of shoes. And I was like, oh, this is great. But then like the new releases were like how you made bigger money. And with the newer releases, you had to have a bot, a computer program to like, snag like 20 pairs immediately for you. But you had to have like proxies and like, your different servers and different credit card numbers and this and that. And it just became too much, and like I couldn't keep up. And it was just like, there's no way this is worth it. Like, you have to be on Twitter like 24/7, like waiting for the latest drop, this and that. And so, and like I do this with my brother. And so I'm talking to my brother. I'm like, we got to go a different direction, because like this isn't like can't keep up. And so,
how much would a pair of shoes sell?
What's that?
Like, what's kind of the average price? So you buy these shoes, what were they flipping for at the time? What were you getting off of them?
Yeah, so I mean, on average, I'd say the more money you spend, the more money you make. But I mean, on average, like I was comfortable with spending like $250 to $300 to sell a pair for like $400 maybe.
That's not bad. So you're making about 100% markup somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some L's in there too, but yeah, I mean, that's you learn like what models are the best, which models hold value. Like, I always go like so hard when I like figure something out. Like, I go way too hard in the beginning. Like, I would just like buying every Jordan model. Like, I was like, oh, this is so easy. Like, but like soon figured out like, it's only like a few models that really are consistent.
So do you have a pretty good death pile of shoes? Like, do you have a pretty good stock of stuff?
Man, my basement's a joke right now.
Do you know, one of the things that I found interesting, which I was going to bring this up with Derek, is now there's people that are putting together pallets of like people's death piles. Because, you get excited, you think there's there, but you move on to something else. Oh, so now they want you to kind of palletize stuff, get rid of your death pile, and somebody else gets excited about it. So that's something I'm going to look into.
That's really interesting, because my basement's been just
You're the guy in the neighborhood, everyone's waiting for that yard sale because they know there's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I just recently started selling my shoes on eBay as of like a week ago, just because I was like, I got to be sitting on like, I don't even know how many thousands of dollars. And so my mom actually helps me like post stuff on eBay, and I pay a percentage.
Oh, wow. So you've got your brother helping you, mom's helping you.
So you got the family rival business from the insurance. Now you got your own family business rolling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, I feel like I understand the buy and sell, the eBay world, like very, very well. But I mean, it does come down to manpower at some point, because I mean, you have to list things. Like, you have to list things all like every day. Like, you have to.
Our saying is, Derek's grandma always said, you can't sell out of an empty wagon. If you don't have stuff listed, like, how are they going to buy it?
Well, exactly. And eBay's so crazy too, because, like I said, like I have Vera Bradley women's bags. That's probably my most popular seller on my eBay, to be honest. But it got, Jordans and sunglasses and this and that. And it's like, I'll list 5 pair of shoes and then 2 bags will sell.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Their algorithm's weird. You list stuff and other stuff just pops, but that seems to be related.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so I'm like, as long as you just list anything, like somehow your stuff gets seen.
So are you buying all this retail arbitrage, or are you going to outlets? You got wholesale with all that other stuff before we get into cards again heavy?
Yeah. So I discovered Goodwill online, shopgoodwill.com. They run auctions all day, every day from Goodwills across the country of things that they get in their store, well, supposedly. And I mean, just like an infinite amount of like brands and products, and like you wouldn't even believe how many things there are to look at. And I like Vera Bradley women's bags were like what I could get the cheapest and sell the fastest and make a profit. Like I tried a lot of things, but yeah, and so I did shop Goodwill.com for like all those purchases, and I would spend, $200 to $300 in a lot for these bags.
See, that's what we tell people that listen. We'll have people tell us, well, I'd like to start reselling, but there's nothing around me, or I can't find anything, and like that. You're just not trying, because there's so much out there.
Have infinite options every day. It seems like.
Well, with the pandemic, like I said, I sold a bunch of different things, kind of the same thing, and then I found my niche, kind of into that nostalgia sports cards thing. Got into it a couple years ago and just got more and more into it. And I've got, right now, I think I've got about 450 cards I'm waiting on at PSA. Yeah, so just kind of waiting. Sold, like I said, 3 cards over the weekend. I've sold quite a few cards, some Lucas, and it's just crazy what people will pay for. But again, I didn't know anything about it, so you just have to kind of learn it. And it sounds like that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, so you're in the basement, you're making a hard turn. You're telling your brother, we need to figure something out because we can't compete with robots.
Right. Yeah.
Is that when you get into cards?
And so we actually got into use shoes, and like we actually really perfected like a lot of cool things. Like we invented like a sauce to like put on the bottom of your shoes to make your soles icy. We had like a tent with like grow lights in it, and like we had a drill press with like brushes to clean the bottom. I mean, it was a really, really cool, like everything we had going on in my basement. But with that, I noticed it's taking forever to get these shoes start to finish on eBay. Like it's taking forever, and so that's what led me to cleaning or anything like that. And so that's where the bags came, and that's where belt buckles and the sunglasses came, and then soon I inherit my grandpa's collection, and I was like, oh well, this is like the most perfect thing ever. Like I don't have to do anything, and they're small and like easy to ship, and like it was perfect.
So with most of your stuff right now, I think we found you, Adam, sees you all over the Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Are you Marketplace, eBay, combination of both, StockX?
Yeah. So man, cards is just a crazy world, man. So many different ways to make money. That's why I love it. So many different ways to make money. It's crazy. I sent in cards at first because I was like, oh, well, this is how you make money. But quickly realized, wow, like I thought this was this grade and it ended up getting 3 grades lower. Like, well, now I'm screwed. Yeah. Well, that sucked. Like, okay, lesson learned there. Now what? So you look, you kind of see what other people are doing. Like I had a couple buddies who did like cards and, started talking to them and like, oh, join this group, join that group. And I was like, okay. So I joined a couple groups and I, started making these posts. I'd list like probably 30 to 35 cards with a price and, just wait for people to buy them. And, that was good. But, I knew like graded cards, like you have to have, like if you're going to make money, like you got to have graded cards. Like it's plain and simple. Like I have like 275 cards PSA too. Just side note. But, before I know it, like I started like getting a reputation for like, being a good seller, and like people would like, recognize my name. And so I was like, okay, well that's cool. And then the whole Luka boom happened in 2018. And I was like, well, I don't really do basketball. I only do like baseball. And so I knew baseball really, really well. And so the Luka boom was happening, and I was seeing like the prices like people were like paying, and like I was like, man, like that is like triple or quadruple what I'm seeing, like in baseball world. And so at that time, you could go to Target and just like buy Prism boxes. And
yes,
so,
you could. You could. We did.
Yeah. And so, I mean, opening your first box, right? It's just like, oh man, like this is amazing, like so fun. So I go to Target like every day, and it was like nothing back then, right? Like, you just walk in and buy like 3, like what do they call them, blast. I don't even buy boxes, but 3 blasters or whatever, and then you're hoping to get the silver or whatever. But like I learned, like you're not gonna make money just like opening boxes, like either. I pulled 1 Lucas Silver, sold it for like 300. So there you go.
That's good. It's funny because the nice part is we talk about it all the time, like with technology, like we timestamp all of these things. We talk about stuff. We talked about The Last Dance before it really happened. We talked about the Tiger stuff before it happened. I can go back, so I first met you. I was trying to buy some cards with you back in April because I can go through my things, and you had this vintage lot, and I'm like, man, this is a pretty good deal. But I wanted the Pete Maravich and Wilt Chamberlain, and they were gone.
I totally remember that a lot. Yeah.
And you're like, hey, man. And I'm like, oh, man, those are the cards I wanted. Those are the ones I thought were undervalued. So I said, no. But there you go. A year later, we have you on the podcast. So
that's so funny. I totally remember that, too.
And I'm hoping now I'm going to want to look at those cards because I'm guessing on both of our parts they're worth a lot more money.
Has to be, right? Like, vintage is a whole nother ball game, man. Like, whole nother ball game. Like,
so where are you focused on now? We're not going to make you give away all your trade secrets since you can't go into Target and just buy you a blaster box and make you $300 a day off that. But where do you see this trending, or what's the future for you?
So as of right now, like through trials and errors and everything, I run a fire sale in a group I try to do it every week, but sometimes it's too hard. But I do it usually every 2 weeks, a fire sale, and it's I call it the GOAT fire sale. I do LeBron, MJ, Kobe cards, and that's it every 2 weeks. And and I'm looking for those lots like every day, every hour of the day. I probably spend like $1,500 a week on Kobe cards or LeBron lot or MJ lots or whatever, so I can like replenish what I lose in the sale. Like last sale, brought in $7,500.
Wow.
Last Friday. And so, and I'm always like trying to improve. I'm always trying to improve the process. Like, I started doing a fire sale doing like $150, and I thought it was great. And, you just learn like what people want and what, who to get, what product to get, this and that. And so, yeah, every 2 weeks, it's, I'm able to like replenish my inventory where it's like, bringing in like about $7,000. That's $7,000 for one sale. And profits probably at like 40 to 50% margins there.
That's better money than not. Well, you could be doing that or selling insurance.
What? Like, nah.
Like, so this has replaced so we were kind of breaking up there. I'm going to do my best to piece this together, but for people that missed it, this has replaced your insurance. This is your full-time job right now. Selling.
Yeah, I committed like 3.5-4 months ago. I called my boss and I said I just can't do it. And I told my wife, like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't see cards like disappearing anytime soon, especially with like the whole, everybody stay at home thing. And it's like people, like, it just makes sense. Like that this would be around, like,
You're doing it that way. So here's the thing, like you quit your full-time job. I'm going to call you out. Like Did you set up an S corporation? Do you have a separate checking account? Do you have a credit card?
Yeah, so I have all those. We got. I mean, our LLC is called Pogoz LLC, and it's something in the works related to cards. And
So you said LLC. How was it taxed though, Adam?
Yeah,
yeah. So on that note, like I don't know what.
There you go.
that's his part of the podcast. I talk the reselling, he talks the taxes, so he's gonna nail you right here.
Yeah, I tried Googling stuff when I was like setting it up, and I was like, screw this, man. Like I don't know.
There you go. So, we'll talk. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in the resale world because LLC means a lot of things, but it doesn't mean anything about taxes. It all depends if you're sole proprietor or if you're an S corporation.
Yeah, taxes or something. Like we're not like something wasn't a corporation for taxes.
You're just proving my point, man. I appreciate it. That's why I'm needed.
So,
no, for sure.
so with your fire sales, that's through Facebook Marketplace or Facebook groups. Are you shipping? Is this local pickup? How's that go?
Yeah. Ship all orders. It's usually about 40 to 50 orders every sale.
So it sounds like you're balling out, man. You're enjoying what you do. You've learned a lot. Like I said, as we kind of wrap up, what thing would you say? This is what I've enjoyed the most, and this is what I would do differently going forward.
The most satisfying thing for me is the hunt of knowing your cards so well. Like I know every single Kobe Bryant card ever. I could pick it out. Like I love that I know them so well that in a lot of 100 cards, I can pick out the 2 cards that make the lot worth it and know like what I can pay immediately. And then like nobody's gonna know. Like
so you know it. You totally know your market.
Yeah, I mean knowledge is everything. The more you know about whatever you are doing, the more successful you will be. It's very simple.
So what would you do differently? What are you going to do this year, 2021, to make your reselling better?
I got to figure out how to, it's always trying to find, the next best thing, how to make things faster. I'm always trying to, how can I make a sale once a week? Like how can I get it so I don't have to wait every 2 weeks? Like, where's another outlet where I can buy cards because like you got to think outside the box. Like you cannot be like everybody else to be successful, so it's just like, can I find another outlet where I can buy, bulk lot of cards? Like I'm always trying to find stuff like that. And so I think finding more places like where nobody else, like.
Yeah, if you find that, you better hunker down because there's a lot of people looking that way right now. So, what's your home run, and then what's like your strikeout as far as cards go, or even reselling in general?
Like what?
Like we talked about a home run. My home run was a MacGyver jacket that I got at the DI for like $8 and sold for $400 or something. Just your one thing that was like, I can't believe I just sold this for this amount.
So there was so when I was like I got into jackets pretty heavily. And there's like huge profit margins in jackets, by the way, because there's could be like unknown jacket that you're getting and like it ends up being crazy. But anyway, it was like this oh man, I can't even remember the brand. Some urban street brand, and it was just like all leather. Size was like 5XL, like craziest looking thing I ever seen in my whole life. But I saw that the brand was like sold for like $800-900, like these jackets, and I got it on Shop Goodwill on an auction for like $50, and I was like, I don't know who's gonna buy this, but like when it does, like it should sell. And a guy in New York, like literally 2 weeks later, bought it for like $590 or something, like on eBay, that I got for $50. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I was like, no way did that just happen? Like, you know, I mean, that was like my first whoa. Like, that's a big profit, you know. But like about cards, like that's achievable. Like that's very easily you can do that. That's what I love about it.
And you got something that you thought was going to be the big hit. You bought it, you invested in it, and just ended up either sitting in the basement or you just had to dump it. Basically, I mean the strikeout. We had the home run.
Oh yeah. Jeez. Oh God.
Just one. Just all we need is one. We don't need 3, 4, 10, because I know we all have those.
I decided to go into the super hype Adidas release, and I told myself I would never do Adidas. It was like the one time I did it, I was like, everything I'm reading about it, like it's gonna be crazy. And I spent like $3,400 on this pair of shoes. And the guy ships me the shoes, and he's like, oh, like I don't have the OG box. And I was like, wait, what? Like that's the reason I needed it, you know? Like, and I'd already had the shoes, and I was like, well, there goes that. And so I ended up like dumping it at some consignment shop for like $2,200 or something, just because like it's impossible to find a buyer for some things, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you just think like you think you know, and then like you get like you fall on your face and learn.
So to our people that are listening, we got people that are all range from experts full time or from just starting. You're going full time right now. There's people sitting back that think they should get into it, that want to quit their day job, that want to go out and do it, but they're sitting on the fence. What could you tell those people to get them off the fence and into the game?
I would say there's a market for absolutely everything. Everything. There's a market for it. Find something that you just love, like you love researching. Like if you love researching something, become a master at that thing. Don't let anybody else know more about the product than you. And like it'll fall into place. Like there's always going to be a market. There's always going to be a buyer for whatever it is. If you're the smartest, people will come to you and people will buy from you.
Well, there you go. Adam T. He is the card sale, the women's bags, the shoes.
What insurance?
Business rolling.
He's just cranking online. So what we'll do is if you want to, shoot us your eBay store information, we'll put that in the show notes.
Or your fire sales. Where can people find you at, I guess, if they're looking to buy?
My eBay is Go Pogoz, GOPOGOZ.
Go Pogoz. What is that? Like a pogo stick? Hey, enlighten me. What does that mean?
Yeah, Pogoz is that's me and my brother are working on something for cards, and that's going to be the name of it.
And then just with the fire sales and stuff, any certain groups or just kind of
NBA Hotspot is where I do them.
NBA Hotspot. So there you go. There's Adam sharing his wisdom, his knowledge. He's been in the game. He makes money full time. Living the dream, I guess, right?
I mean, it's good right now. I mean, right now, but it's a day-to-day thing almost. But yeah.
Are you back on the golf course yet? Is that fun again, or are you just done?
I haven't played in forever, like forever. So it's like I almost don't even miss it because I'm just too awkward.
So what you're saying is you're slow rolling because I like to play. So you're saying if we get on the course, you're gonna hustle me, and go like bad and then just kill me on the back. Man, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, sandbag, yeah, for sure. I'll probably come out to like 39, 40 on the front, and then just shoot like 33 on the back.
All right, there you go.
You act like those are even bad numbers on the front. I get that for the hole.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Adam, we always end it with in life there are two things that are certain. Do you know what those two things are, Adam?
No, I don't.
That would be Deathpiles
and taxes.
Ah.